Hi guys, Yarek here. So, someone asked me to do a review of the bike that I use, that I ride, which is a CBR300r. Since I was just editing this video, I've decided to turn it into sort of a mix of city riding and CBR300 review with a little bit of commentary. Alright, so let's go. So I've owned this bike for about a year now, and prior I've owned the CBR250 for about 3 years. So there's not a lot of difference between the two bikes. The main difference is ABS, which is a major one for me because I ride in Bangkok. You can see the quality of the roads. When it rains, it's like driving on a mirror. You have ABS could have saved me a couple of minor accidents. All right. Another difference is a little bit of horsepower advantage for the 300. The bike has about 30 horsepower, which doesn't sound like much, but it only weighs about 163 kilograms or 360 pounds. So it gets up to 150 kilometers an hour pretty quickly, and it gets up to about 165, 167 eventually. So for city riding, very nice. It has a lot of torque, so you don't have to do so much downshifting. You just open the throttle and you have quick passing maneuvers available to you. Very nice. For city, I would rate this bike very highly. For highway, I would say it's very. Most of my riding is done in Bangkok, so really, if I had a 600, I don't think I would get to Jimmy's house here much quicker than on this bike. I might get into more trouble. Bangkok roads are very slippery. I might need a bike with traction control, then it would be okay. Alright, so with all this power, you need good brakes, right? Well, this bike has great brakes. I haven't had a chance to actually use the ABS yet, but I know they're there, so it gives you confidence to hit the brakes a lot harder than you normally would. When you know you have ABS, you brake harder, especially in the rain, on gravel, on sand. Just, it gives you confidence. So even though I haven't locked up the brakes yet, but it's just a matter of time, I can feel it. The reason is tires. I'm not impressed with the tires on this bike. CBR250, I had no problems. So, stepping up to this bike, I know I got about 3 more horsepower, but I don't know. When it starts to rain, before it starts to rain, I get slides. I'm on the highway going 100 in the rain, and just driving over the wet patches on the road, my back wheel starts to spin, hydroplaning, just going through puddles. Forget about applying power coming out of the corners. It's like stepping out. When I ride in the rain, I'm riding like an old lady. I just forget about riding fast, aggressive. I just want to get home, which not the way I like to ride. I don't know if it's the rubber compound or tread pattern, but the stock tires available on this bike in Thailand, I'm not impressed. I would give them 5 out of 10. So everything else is great. So far, the low point of the bike, the tires. Okay in the dry, suicidal in the rain. I'm not sure if other riders feel the same way. That's just my personal experience. Okay, so handling outside of the rain, pretty good, solid, because the bike is light and not overpowered, and it has a pretty good frame. Everything is solid. In the corners feels great. Braking great, under acceleration well. It's not gonna twist the frame. The 30 horsepower not gonna rip the frame out of its mounts. Alright? I mean the engine. Alright, next, fit and finish. Well, what can I say? Honda. Everything is pretty well as good as you would expect on a motorbike. There is no ill-fitting materials. 10 out of 10 for fit and finish. Oil window on the right side of the engine, so you just tilt the bike, see if you have oil, if it's clean, if it's full. All little things that you would expect on a Honda bike. It's the reason I've been buying Honda for the last 20 years. Reliability, just like fit and finish, 10 out of 10. I would say the last bike, 4 years of riding on these bikes, on these little 250s and 300s, zero problems, literally. Nothing to complain about. Go for service, change the oil, put gas in where it needs to go, and just no problems. Well, let's go say hi to Jimmy. I don't know. We'll talk more on the way back.
Jimmy's not coming back to Thailand. It's official.
It's gone.
He's not gonna be here next year this time.
I'm done. I'm done for a while. Who knows? Who knows what the future will say, but...
Don't believe it. Nobody leaves forever.
And we're back. Alright, let's talk about comfort. Around the city, fine. Driving 10 hours in a day, not so fine. After about 2 hours, my ass is starting to hurt. So, what I've done is I went to a shop which replaces cushions on these bikes. We have these kind of shops all over the place. If you don't, you can probably go to an upholstery shop. But what I've done is I asked them to put in a couple centimeters of extra foam. Made all the difference in the world. I did that a week before I drove to Koh Lanta, which took me 11 hours in the seat, and incredible improvement. I recommend it. Cost about 30 bucks. Alright, next one is looks. How does the bike look to you? When I walked into the showroom, saw it sitting there. I wasn't there to buy a bike. I was there to actually help a friend buy a bike or fix his bike. But when I saw this thing, I walked out with it 3 hours later. I thought it was beautiful. Before that, I had the CBR300r, the burgundy and gray one, which wasn't a looker. This thing, it looks like it's got 30 horsepower extra just because of the paint job. It's the MotoGP Marc Marquez edition. I love it. I love the orange. I can feel people moving out of the way or not cutting me off as much on this bike. I am sure from 100 meters away, you're more likely to see this bike than the burgundy and gray bike, which sort of blends in with the background. But this orange, it's like you have a light on you. In addition, you have the offset lights on the front. There are 2 lights, and only one of them is on at the time. The low beam is the right light, I believe. So, because there are not a lot of bikes like that in Thailand, I see that it's unusual, and it looks faster than it is, based on the fact that it's people that's usually 1000 and 750s and 600s. That's what they have. They have a one light on, so when people see this thing, they assume you're going faster and sort of give you a bit more respect and less likely to cut you off. Alright, so I'm just going to talk about modifications that I've done and I recommend for this bike. This is purely my personal opinion, of course. I've put on, as you can see on my mirrors, I put these truck convex mirrors for visibility to into the blind spots of the bike, so I don't have to shoulder check. Keeps my eyes on the road. I put that on every bike I owned, and I love it. You're less likely to get caught unaware of somebody braking in front of you or jumping out in front of you when your eyes are forward. When you get used to these mirrors, there is no going back. Number 2, I would recommend getting a pipe. Make the bike louder, people can hear you. I've noticed a difference whether I'm approaching pedestrians from behind or other motorbikers or even cars. When you have a bike that produces noise and vibration, like this bike with the pipe that I bought, people notice you. I can see pedestrians turning around to see who's coming. Other bikers are sort of less likely to cut me off. Alright, number 3 of course is the seat and the tires. So 4 things I have on the list that I'm accomplishing. Alright, so we're coming to my house. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. Bye for now.